Hello and welcome to another Game Developers Vlog with a lot of updates on Copenhagen Crisis. First of all, graphics. I said I would add more graphics, and I have, but really, all of these are placeholder graphics, apart from the cars and the rat, everything is placeholder graphics, and they're all just visual references to help me see whether my code is working as intended or not. The green patches are lawns, and the light gray patches or squares with dark symbols on them are intersections. The symbols indicate, which which direction the roads lead off of the intersections. Quite simple. Then I spoke of adding physicality to the bullets, so they could hit the cars, for example. I haven't, but I have added the ability to shoot more than one bullet at a time. Theoretically, it's possible to have 20 bullets in air at the same time, but I don't know if that works because I've never been able to click the mouse that fast. I think the most I've ever managed to have in air at one time is around 8 or 9. It seems irrelevant at the moment to test that further. Nearly all my other efforts have gone towards creating this rather more elaborate traffic pattern system. And first of all, I added the ability to have more than one car on screen, obviously. Then I added a intersection system. So whenever a car was introduced, at that point there was always just one car, well, or one or two or three, but each car that appeared would have a set target when it, at the beginning of the game, and it would go to that target, and let's say it's this one in the top left. That intersection has a certain amount of data associated with it, and among that is a list of which other intersections you can go to from it. Obviously, from this one you can go to the next one over to the right, sort of towards the top in the middle, and to this one. And using the random number generator that I wrote, extremely simple one, I'm quite proud of it, because it's so simple and elegant. Using that, it would make a choice, one or two. And then it would, once it's made a choice, using the information stored at the intersection, so to speak, it would then get the coordinates of the next one, and that would become the car's target. And then if it was this one, it would go down here, and then it would get 3 choices. And it would choose from those 3. Obviously, it could choose to go back the same way again. That's equally viable as all the other ones, which results in all these this absurd amount of U-turns that you see. I'm going to eliminate that behavior. I don't think I'm going to allow them to make any U-turns. I mean, it would look interesting if they did on occasion, but really, if you looked at any regular town from above, you'd see precious few U-turns compared to normal traffic. So that might be a bonus I add later on. I want to eliminate them in the future. But at that point, every intersection only had one coordinate point reference. So if the cars came from opposite directions, they would go like this. They would go on top of each other and go through each other, which they still can, of course. You can see that these two were just several are driving sort of on top of each other. So my next challenge was to add right-hand drive. I won't go into too much detail about that, but every intersection now has 4 reference points, one in each corner, if you like. And depending on what direction you're coming from, or depending on which direction the car is coming from, it will get one of those, which will lead to it approaching on the right side of the road. And sometimes it'll have to make a correction from the, so as to get to the right side of the road from the point it's at, because they don't always line up perfectly, far from it. That's where I hit a snag, but I managed to solve that just before making this vlog. That was sort of the impetus behind me making this vlog, really. I felt now I should really make this update now because I have added so many things. And lastly, I've also added the possibility of cars driving off-screen and on-screen. Right over here, sort of a little bit to the left of this one, the screen is actually slightly bigger than you see. A little bit to the left of this intersection here, like you can see a car drive out there, and also on the other end of the screen, opposite this one here, there are two portals. And every 3 seconds, the game checks whether, uses the random number generator to see should a car drive in or not. And if it says yes, and if there are no more than 9 cars on screen, then yes, a car will drive in from that side. The maximum number of cars on screen right now is 10, but that's completely arbitrary. It could be more. I think, had 20 at the most. And obviously there's a possibility when they come to this intersection, they can choose to drive to the portal. And if they don't choose to make a U-turn, they will drive off screen. And this results in this rather lively tableau. I like it a lot because it's, yes, it looks a bit silly with them driving on top of each other and making U-turns all the time, but it looks much more alive and dynamic than it has ever before. I really like that. And with having the right-hand drive mostly functional, actually it's completely functional, I think it looks really good. Now, of course, what I want to do next, the first thing I want to fix is to stop them making U-turns and also stop running into each other. So they should check, is there a car in front of me within a certain distance in front of me? And if there is, lower your speed or stop, something like that. That shouldn't be too tricky. I think there are some situations that might arise from this, like let's say you're in an intersection, there's a car coming from every direction. Well, who goes first? Or should they just sort of back up until they find that, oh, now I can go? That might work. I don't know exactly how to solve that yet. After that, I'm not sure what I'll add after that once I have made this traffic sort of work perfectly, or nearly perfectly. I want pedestrians, of course. I mean, those will be much more central to the game than the cars, really. They will follow much the same programming as the cars, or a very similar one, just sort of using reference points in the intersections that are further away, so they will be following the sidewalks rather than the streets. And then maybe traffic lights at the intersections, who knows? I think that's probably necessary for the pedestrians to get across, or they'll have to wait until it's clear. I mean, that's possible right now. I mean, if you were down in the lower left corner now, you could easily cross. I shall have to see what is most viable. This is a practice program after all. It's one of my more sophisticated and ambitious practice projects. But it's still practice. I don't want to get too bogged down in it. As long as it works decently, I shouldn't add too many features just for the sake of them. I want to progress, but I intend to make this a complete and fully functional game. So as long as it looks okay, I might leave some features out. Well, in any case, those were the updates for now. All the things I've added, and some of what I intend to add. If you find this interesting and you haven't already, I'd encourage you to click the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel. Updates on my work on this and other things, like my painting, is most readily available on this YouTube channel and on my Instagram account. Those and other links are to be found in the description of this video. And with that, I think I'd like to wish you all a good time of day and goodbye.